We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
It's Wednesday again, fellas. How's it going?
It's going, man.
Yeah, you know, it's half of the week, and as we do on Wednesdays, as it has become a tradition, I'm flanked by my bros, sometimes my foes of the NFC North. Coming out of Detroit, my dynamic duo, June and B. Foster, man. Let me introduce you all. Bleachers to Speakers, how's it going?
It's going, man. It's Wednesday. Let's get to it.
That is a disgusting hat. Like I told you backstage, B. Foster. You've already started on the wrong foot with me, bro.
I like how I look in red, man.
Oh, yeah. All right. I don't like it. Constructive criticism, I do not like it. I think not a fan. Switch it up. I like you in blue. Blue is your color.
Blue's my color. All right.
And the venerable, our veteran of the squad, longtime blogger of the Vikings, EP of the Vikings and Skulls show, Dave. What's to it?
Hey, it's Wednesday and another marvelous week. We get to see our guys out in shorts and t-shirts, running and throwing the ball around. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, I know, right? What were 100 days on the head from kickoff? 100 days until we all start 1-0, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to hear. All right. So let's talk about that. It's summer, got organized teams activity. Let's kick it off right there. I'm going right back to my dynamic duo out of Detroit. The best, some would say the best dynamic duo in Detroit since Dumars and Zeke. Wait. Maglio and Verlander, were they played together?
Or Miguel Cabrera, you know.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I can't put you all over them. I'm sorry, I love you, but I can't do it.
There's Chauncey and Rip, and if you want to get closer to
I'll put you all over Chauncey and Rip. But let's get into some football. So the OTAs in Detroit. Well, how's it going for the defending division champions, Foster?
It's been pretty quiet in the camp. The two main guys that have made some news is Carlton Davis and Jamison Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Campbell was kind of giving Jamison Williams the stamp that he's matured and he's ready for him to take on a bigger role this year. So that's exciting for us to hear. Obviously, he was hurt for most of his rookie year, and he missed the first couple of games of last year because of the gambling issue situation. So, we're ready for him to be healthy and scandal free going into the regular season. But also Carlton Davis, who, they've got a chance to line up against each other. And Carlton Davis has had some high praise for Jamison as well, that, playing against guys of his caliber is going to make him better. But, he's just overall excited about the possibilities of us making another deep run in the playoffs. Obviously, he won the Super Bowl a couple years ago when Tom Brady was in Tampa Bay. But he's looking to solidify that cornerback one role, which we, have some issues with last year. So, Carlton Davis is definitely another guy that has, made some headlines thus far. But that's about it.
Well, they also said, added on to that J-Mo's been kind of cooking the young rookies at corner, the young people out there. They say he's been barbecue grilling the young DBs
as he should. He's a vet, and kind of a vet out there. They're going into his third year, so
Yeah.
not a vet, but he's been around.
It's just that time.
Well, we've got some. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was about to say it's school time. All the rookies should be getting schooled.
Yes.
Yeah, at this time last year, they was still doing finals. So yeah, it makes sense that they're still being taken to class. I'll ask you because we have a difference of opinion coming out of Chicago as far as where the defense and the offense should be. As it relates to right now at this point in the summer schedule. You all want your offense to be up showing up your defense right now? Or what better way to answer that question? It does not concern you that the offense, well, in this case, one particular offensive player is leaps and bounds ahead of his counterparts on the defense.
Well, we didn't mention the offense was doing that. We mentioned an individual having good workouts. To say the offense is ahead of the defense is not what will say it.
I mentioned that one player in particular getting the best of his counterparts.
Of the rookies that should have been getting cooked, yes. We
agree that rookies should know their place and the totem pole right now. That at that point it makes sense. So I agree. Dave, what's happening over there in Minnesota?
Oh, a bunch of stuff. We're getting all sorts of things done. We're getting words that like today, Christian Darrisaw was talking about our rookie Dallas Turner and said Dallas Turner put a spin move on him faster than Danielle Hunter ever could. And if it's like he could do that faster than Danielle, oh yeah, baby. Now, Dallas Turner's got a lot of stuff to yet learn because he's going to be going up and practice against Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill on the other side. And I know they're going to school him. They're going to, you tried that once, you got through, puppy. Good for you. Try it again. And they're going to just, pound him into the turf. But that's some of the things that gets you excited. We also had Jordan Addison, officially our wide receiver number 2, but he's playing wide receiver number 1 during all the OTAs because Justin Jefferson isn't there. Well, he was asked a question today about catching balls from different quarterbacks because he was a rookie last year and he had to come in and learn how to catch a ball from Kirk Cousins. Well, that makes sense. Kirk was our quarterback. Well, this year we don't have Kirk Cousins. Now he's catching balls from Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins and J.J. McCarthy. And he was being very political about his answers. And he goes, yeah, they're a little bit different, but we get paid to catch balls. It doesn't matter who throws it. We get paid to get open and catch footballs, which is the exact thing a wide receiver should say and do for that matter. But when somebody asks him specifically about McCarthy, he says he throws a heck of a tight spiral and he zips it. And that's the one thing McCarthy's got to learn that we've seen so far. McCarthy's been very, very good these last week and so far this week in OTAs. But he's got to learn to add that touch to his game. It's still not quite there. But he's making his throws and he's looking great at it. There's even talk that there may be an actual competition that he may actually possibly check all the boxes and win the starting position for week 1. That would be something. I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to start with Sam Darnold no matter what. But there's a lot of buzz, if you want to call it that. That was a keyword from this last week. A lot of buzz that goes towards that conclusion. And hey, if he wins the starting job, all the power to him, baby.
Let's stay with McCarthy there for a second. And you've mentioned something that I did want to come back to about his velocity on his passes. The word, how do you feel about the word torque as it relates to a quarterback's throwing motion?
Well, torque is used to describe the motion as how much windup or how little windup or how compact it is. You've got to put the word torque in with and how they're moving their hips through. Throwing a football is a whole lot like hitting a golf ball. You're driving through from your hips first, and then the arm comes around, and then arms comes over. Pitching a baseball, much the same way. A pitcher is going to torque his body with his spin, and then the hips come out and the leg comes out and goes over the top. But if he generates a lot of torque, quote, as in a football term, he's generating a lot of, I think, spin, or a lot of speed, a lot of velocity. I could deal with it. There's been some great quarterbacks that just zip footballs.
The reason I
in our
asked,
division.
I saw a report that the coaches for the Minnesota Vikings, they said they want to monitor the torque on McCarthy's arm. I think what they said was he has a tendency to overstride, which will force him to rely on his arm rather than, making it come for the hips and the lower body. Have you heard that same thing coming out of camp so far?
Yeah, that's come out, and that he's, and not only that he overstrides, but that it opens up to possible injury later.
Yeah,
because you are putting most of the force here when you want most of the force in the middle of your body and your hips.
Okay.
They've said that, but they're working on it.
2 years ago, he had that problem here in Michigan where they had to rest his arm for fall camp.
They rested his arm a lot while he was in Michigan. Let me just say
that.
Let me just say that.
He had plenty of energy to raise that trophy, though.
True.
Yeah,
I think that's why Blake had it in his hand most of the time while he was on the stage.
Yeah, sitting comfortably in Michigan Stadium.
Well, I had a good friend today put out an article over on Vikings territory, a competitor of ours, that he went through all the games. He's one of our scout heavy guys. He went through all the Michigan games over the last couple of weeks, just diving in and watching him. And he came out with McCarthy can do just about everything. He's good at dropbacks. He knows the pro game. That's not going to be a problem with him versus somebody coming from like the air raid system. He knows all of that. That's good. He's good at knowing the routes, where to throw. He's good at manipulating a pocket by moving left or right. The only one thing was that every once in a while he comes out too hot with the arm speed, and that can cause problems if he doesn't control it. And an easy way to control it is to move it down. I reference golf. You can try to guerrilla golf, which is meaning using all your upper body and arms and to whack that ball like crazy. Bringing back the club as fast as you can and bringing it through absolutely as fast as you can to generate speed. And that may work sometimes, but it also may cause humongous banana slices or hooks. Well, throwing a football is the same way. If you learn in golf, you don't need to generate all that speed that way, that you can generate it through your twist in your body and driving through your hips. Suddenly, the accuracy comes in. That cone of missing it gets narrow, and you're hitting sweeter shots, and you're using less energy. And I think that's sort of what they're trying to get him to do, to fine-tune his throwing process to do that. So where if he's got a 10-yard out, as long as the ball gets there in time, we're fine. It doesn't have to be 60-mile-an-hour heater, right? The only time you need those fast ones is you got a little time to react, or you got a little time to react, whether it's to the window or to get the ball out.
Yeah.
Okay. Curious. All right. Hopefully they can keep that under control there in Michigan. Not Michigan, Minnesota. So
think about John Elway. John Elway threw the ball like that.
Yeah.
And it costed him, he had to do the Tommy John thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he could throw a ball through a cinder block wall.
Don't want anybody having those elbow issues, especially playing football. That's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky in general, even in baseball. It's a career ender in baseball. Do not even want to think about it in football. elsewhere around the OTAs in the division, Chicago, everything's been pretty much positive on the Chicago front. And when I say positive, I mean everything's going according to plan so far. Caleb Williams is out there looking like a rookie, as you all said in their Detroit. He's getting, for the most part, the defense is getting the best of him, which is a good thing. There's no reason why a rookie in a new offense, while they're still being installed, and he's down Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze, there's no reason why he should be able to show up the defense, a defense that was trending up and one of the better pass defenses in the season, in the league last season. So that's looking excellent. The team is flying around. No one's hurt seriously hurt. They're monitoring Rome's ankles. They just, if this was camp, he'll be out there. But right now, he doesn't really need to be out there. Just read your playbook, get your game installed down, learn the terminology, and we're good. Be ready to roll come August. So we're all systems go in Chicago. Loving that. I did have another question for you guys. This is more so outside of the division, but a league-wide thought. So yesterday, Tom Pelissero, I think I'm saying his name right, for a lead staff writer for the NFL.com. He reported that the Players Union is getting ready to propose an overhaul to the offseason schedule. That no more OTAs. No more OTAs. We're just going to have a longer camp. So you can have a more steady ramp up here instead of the, a few weeks here, a few weeks there, some of it mandatory, some of it not. And then you go right into camp for a month, and then you go right into games. So I'm going to go around the room. Are you yay or nay on OTA June?
Yay.
You're yay. Okay. Okay. To an extent, what's the extent?
Well, it's early. It's like really, really early. First impressions aren't everything as far as OTAs. You've seen, I'm sure you've experienced very, very great news coming out of OTAs and never see it happen in September. So you take it with a grain of salt. You like to hear good things. You also like to hear things, opportunity for improvement. That's what, So as you mentioned, like Caleb not doing so well, I don't expect him to come in and be lights out in OTAs. Just don't. This is the NFL. I mean, you're not playing at USC. There's veteran play. Even the players that are not starters are probably better than the college players you played against last year. So you can't expect that. What you do expect is for the camaraderie, and you do expect for the people to compete, and you expect to see the players come in shape and to take it kind of seriously. That's what you expect. I mean, the overall performance, it's May. I expect you to be that much better come September.
What about you, Dave? Are you pro or no on the system
proposal?
as it is now, or on the proposal?
Well, Tom Pelissero, if you didn't know, came from Minneapolis. He was a beat writer for the Vikings for many, many years. He's a good man, and he writes extremely well, and it's well researched. But Tom Pelissero, as I read the article and many tweets on it, it's the whole idea is they want to move the more physical parts of the OTAs, like what we're doing this week, and they want to move it closer to anywhere from mid-June, late June, early July, somewhere in there. I'd say mid-June. And so that rather than having the physical aspect of what goes on in the OTAs right now, where people are running passes 7-on-7 drills, they're running through the bags, they're doing all the things that they normally do. rather than have it now, to have it in June, and then we hit training camp, then the pads come on, and it's a constant, instead of, spurts of a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's a more gentle ramp up towards the season. And it may be helping, or it may be helpful. Back in the Stone Age of football, when they would do 2-a-days and those full padded practices at training camp and such like that, the training camps were longer.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was back in the 70s and 80s. A lot of the guys had to come in and get in shape because it wasn't what it is today where they're constantly working out. They had to come in and get in shape, and it took a while.
That's a big point. That's a good point.
And to get into football shape. And I'll qualify that as football shape, because football shape is different than, looking like a stud on the beach to attract women. It's being able to play a game for a long, consistent period of time. So it takes a while. I think it's a good idea. Now, what they did say is they can come in, they can still do in the spring the book work, where they would say, hey, players can come in, you can meet in your team rooms, you can learn your playbook, you can go lift weights, because a lot of players still lift weights at the facility, because that way they're covered if they get injured. They can do all that, but the whole physical stuff about what's happening on the field, running routes, doing everything that goes with that, now starts at the end of June or middle to end of June, and it just rolls into training camp. Now, they may take a week off between OTAs and training camp to give the guys a breather, but it's a more consistent move in. And I'm for it. I think it'll work better. And I don't think it's going to mess with the NFL schedule and publishing, all their stuff, hyping up the draft and doing everything they normally do. But I think it'd be better for the players, and it'd be better for us fans, because the players will be more consistent coming into that first week of the game, and that first week of the season. And that first week may not feel like a scrimmage game, because everybody's rusty, because they've been there now for 2 months. I'm for it.
Okay. I like that point you brought up about player weight and getting into shape. I think that's a critical part as well. B. Foster, break the tie. Where are you at on this OTA discussion? Should we stay as we are now, or should there be a longer runway as what they're arguing for?
Yeah, I'm in line with Dave. He covered it pretty good. I don't really see the value so much in how it is right now. I mean, especially for the guys that, if you have a least bit of an injury, or a lot of those, top-notch, high caliber guys, they don't even participate in it anyway. So it's just kind of, if nothing else, just an opportunity for us to, that first hype before the training camp and stuff like that. I don't think there's a whole lot of stock and weight that's put into it. So yeah, I think that altering the schedule a little bit can only benefit things. And I think that eventually they'll probably move into one less preseason game and add it on and tack it on to the regular season at some point. They want the money, so if they can steal another, dollar or two, I think that's what it's ultimately going to be about.
Oh yeah, that's coming. The NFL Players Association, they can demand whatever they want as far as work rules out of the season. But what's going to happen is, when Roger Goodell and his 32 buddies get together, 30 buddies get together, and they're going to tell you, like, hey, look, we want that 18th game, and we're going to have that 18th game. That's going to happen. Whether the longer training camp period that they're discussing right now was better for that, I don't know. But I do agree that if you have the way it is set up now, you can pinpoint or target the players who are, maybe partied a little too hard from January to April, and they're not in shape. you can address that right now and get that together by the time August 1st hits. If you let it, if we don't see you until June 15th, it's gonna be tough. It'll be a little tougher. So I mean, I'm all for it. I'm always gonna side with the player. So whatever they think is best, I'm all for it. All right. So we've reached the middle part. If you're watching this live, treat this like a Boeing jet and stay in your seat and buckle your seatbelt. We'll be right back. If you're listening on audio, listen to our good advertising friends, our partners, and check them out. We'll be right back after this. All right. So you all brought it up. June, Dave. There's been some big contracts signed this offseason. All of them pretty much in Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown's got 30 million a year. Pretty much set the record for wide receivers until AJ Brown. Yeah, he came up and jumped over that by 2 million. You got Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco. He's asking for no less than what Amon-Ra St. Brown got. There's the CeeDee Lamb extension. He's holding out. The dynamic duo in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they're holding out right now. Well, holding out, with an quotation marks. So they haven't officially said they're not showing up. They are waiting on contracts, and they're not there in OTAs right now. And the big one around the league in Minnesota. JJ. Yes, Mr. JJ. He's also trying to. He's been working on his new deal for a year now, right? So as we've seen, and it started with Amon-Ra, he took the number over 30. Tyreek Hill, his is not really a real 30, but we can actually say Amon-Ra St. Brown took the number annually for top level receivers to 30 and beyond. Where does this bubble pop? At some point, because when I hear Brandon Ayuk asking for 30 million and demanding it, saying I'm not showing up till I get 30 million, like, okay, all right, we didn't reach a crazy point in this talk of valuing wide receivers, because there's no way. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is a great wide receiver. In fact, I think he's the best wide receiver on his team. But 30 million type wide receiver, I don't know. So at what point do wide receivers overprice themselves? Do you foresee a future in which the wide receiver becomes the running back?
No. No to your latter question. The wide receiver will never become the running back. Running back is a short-lived position that there's a ton of that come out and play, that come out of college and play. Everybody wants to be a running back. Running back's fun. Wide receiver is a longer lived in the league position. Running back, if you're in the league past 30, you're doing great. Wide receiver can go a little bit longer, and it takes a little bit more time to develop. And the difference between a pass game and a run game is the pass game is so much more efficient. Wide receivers getting 9 yards an average, a good one, a decent one, and where a good runner is getting 5, 6. So no, I don't see a gluttony. One of the things is supply and demand. The supply of running backs has been huge. They're all over the place. The demand has been little. Well, the supply of very, very, very good wide receivers, even though there's a bunch of them out there, isn't that big. There's a huge drop-off when you start looking at teams. They may have their number one, and not all number ones are equal across all 32 teams. But then you start to get into wide receiver 2, 3, 4, and you can see there's a humongous drop-off. So, no, I don't think so. Now, if you want to talk about JJ, we can do that.
So you said something there. The supply and demand of it that's where the market is. I see wide receivers. I've been saying this for years. I think wide receivers are something you do not have to draft early. because they come out of college pretty much ready to go now. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They traded a top flight wide receiver and then won 2 back-to-back, right? that tells you right there. Well, you can, if that don't the value of the wide receiver, I don't know what else would tell you. What else would tell you? If you can go ahead and get his whole there you go, Stephon Diggs. I can get
he was
your
a
prime.
5th rounder.
I can draft him at anywhere in the draft. I get an elite guy anywhere, day 1, 2, or 3, and I can get your prime and then go get another one. That's exactly what they do with running backs. The supply is there. Maybe the fall off from the elite isn't as steep as it is with running backs, but I can definitely see at some point some crazy general manager is going to say, "Hey, you know what? We could make another one of you." Like Jay-Z said, make another Hove. Foster with that ugly hat, man. Where are you at?
No, yeah. Well, the one thing I would say is that I would say, because Dave said that there's a kind of a drop off between the 2 and 3. That may be true, but I think that there are a lot more of a multitude of receivers out there. But what's going to help them is the fact that they are more durable than the running backs because they last a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know where the number is per se, but I think it does get to a point to where, like you said, they are expendable, and you don't have to, it's not like a quarterback where if you're looking for the one of the future, you want to go and get them in the early rounds and stuff like that. So, but I mean, I think, most teams are about 3, 4, 5 receivers deep at this point because the passing game is being so heavily celebrated and, protected with the targeting and
the rules.
Can't cut their leg. Yeah, the rules are definitely protecting them. So in that sense, that's going to continue to protect the value that you're putting on them. So, but I think as far as the numbers are concerned, I think that you do have a vast number of talented receivers right now to where they're like, it's not about having a one, like they expect you to have 4 or 5 of those guys at this point.
Hey, Jones. So at this point, teams, as you all are saying, at this point, you've got to have a certain amount of you need a stable of dependable wide receivers, right? Because the game is an air raid game now, right? But if the top guy is getting 30, and then you got another guy out of San Francisco who is good, but I wouldn't put him in my top 12, just on top of my head. If he's demanding 30, at what point does the market say flat? It's just flat line and say, all right, we're gonna have to bring these numbers down to somebody. We've seen it. We know the NFL will play this game.
Hey, it's not.
It's not.
Okay. Look. Here's the gist of it, right? We know systems are everything, right? When it comes to passing, you might have a person picked in the 4th or 5th round, and they go to a team with a great passing system and they go there and thrive. But guess what happens when their contract is up? They get paid. They may not even stay in that system. They might go somewhere else. And this is a passing league. There's long gone are the days or you're running on 1st and 2nd down. That just doesn't happen. Even going back even further, most rosters only carry 3 running backs on their roster, just 3. So the wide receiver position is always going to be one that if you get the numbers, you're going to get paid, and that's just like with just about every position. Like you've seen where D tackles were getting this humongous amounts of money. It just happens. It happens, and if Ayuk doesn't get it in San Francisco, some dumb owner is going to pay him somewhere else. That's just what it's going to be.
I was going to get to that. 30, you're not going to get agreement across all 32 teams. There's always going to be that one that does that crazy trade or the crazy offer for salary Minnesota's been guilty of it. Cleveland's been guilty of it. They're all of them. They see that one little piece and they're going, no, it's worth it. We got to go get it. So we're going to go get it. Let's do it. Let's give him the first fully 100% guaranteed contract in the history of the league. Oh, that was a mistake, right? But there's always that one team that will blow it out of the water. Now, part of this is also the inflation in the salary cap, because the cap's going up. Every year the cap goes up. Everybody that's a free agent that year is looking to get their percentage of that new cap, right? Because everybody else is under contract. Their pay isn't changing. So what they're looking for is they go out there, well, the cap went up 20%. I'm going to add 20% to the top wide receiver from last year. And 20% would be cool, but it may go even higher.
You're right there. You won't have an agreement across all owners. Somebody's going to do that thing that Khan in Jacksonville did and pay. Who was that wide receiver that they gave all that money to last summer? It wasn't Chenault, but it was somebody. They like, oof.
They gave Christian Kirk in
Jacksonville? Yeah, Christian Kirk. They gave
18 million.
Yes. Yeah, somebody's going to do something like that. I do not disagree there. I just think at some point, you're going to say, all right, we're not going to pay the new age Wes Welker. All right, we know that you're a figment of the system you're out of, and we can go get it. We can make another one of you, Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
So
didn't Nico Collins just get signed?
Nico Collins got 25 a year. That's correct.
Yeah,
Nico Collins. Hey, listen. Even though they print money in the NFL, at some point, someone's going to say, "Hey, you're not a quarterback, and you don't protect the quarterback, and you don't chase the quarterback. We're going to have to put a block on these salaries."
Now, but PFF did one of their analytics things where they look value. Was it EPA, expected points per average per game?
Yeah.
And it's your best wide receivers that have the second highest next to your quarterback. Quarterbacks dominates all of them. But it's your wide receivers that come in, your wide receiver ones, the elite ones that come in above any defensive tackle, any defensive edge, any of those guys. They have more influence on the game. And it's one of the reasons Justin Jefferson is pushing it, because they brought up his numbers. We interviewed Max Chadwick from PFF. He does their college football stuff. And we talked about this, that number influences who's going to get paid and who's not, because any agent's going to use that number. The Vikings are going to use that number in the case of Justin Jefferson. The Dallas will in the case of CeeDee Lamb. Everybody's going to be looking at that saying, hey, this is the second most important player on your team. So you got to pay him like the second most important player on your team. And that's what's causing these salaries to go up over $30 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the owners band together and do some colluding. Or if not, hey, get paid. I'm all for it.
Hey, did you see former Chicago Bear and Minnesota Vikings legend Jared Allen?
Bernard Berrien?
Jared Allen, talking with what's her name? Kay.
Cronin?
Adams.
Okay,
Kay Adams. Sweet little thing, Kay Adams. She was asking him this week about should Justin get paid, and why did Jared Allen object to Kirk getting paid, but now it's all for Justin getting paid.
My guess would be that, he's still got that purple running through his veins.
Well, that he does, but he says he's the best player in his position across the league, and he means so much to whoever's quarterback. You pay the man. And Kay said, what if it's 40 million? And he said, then pay him 40 million.
The Wilfs got it. The Wilfs got the money.
They could do it if they wanted to, yes. Now, the sticking point I'm hearing is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb doesn't want to sign before Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson doesn't want to sign before CeeDee Lamb because they're going to turn to their people and go, one up him.
Mm-hmm. Smart play.
Yeah.
Smart play.
Unless the Vikings do something stupid and say 40 million, here you go. And just blow it out of the water, and Dallas says no.
At 40, I guarantee you there. That's where the bubble pops at 40. Like no one's topping 40.
Well, we're thinking 35, right? As reasonable for the best wide receiver in the league, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to go three over the top number right now, which is 32 for AJ Brown.
Yep.
That's more than fair. That's respectable. And it's good. I mean, JJ is the best wide receiver in the game right now. No, hard stop, right? So if you give him best player at his position money, I don't think anybody will argue. But it's a lot of cap space.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that look on you guys. Love that look. As long as you don't have a quarterback, I love it.
Well, it also depends on what's the length of his contract and all that stuff plays into it. Because if you're going to pay him all that money, you want it in a longer contract, at least minimum 4 years, if not 5.
True.
If he wants a shorter contract, even with a 4-year, he's coming out. He'll get his next contract when he's 30, I think it is. Even with a shorter one, that's the price goes down. Would be my answer if I was negotiating.
Okay. Yeah, a lot to think about as far as that. You know, it's a good problem to have if you've got wide receivers that are necessary to be paid that right. I guess Chicago's got a couple of them. Hopefully we drafted one that'll be demanding 30 plus in a couple of years. The Bears. Hope so. All right, so let's go on. Let's go on to another topic. So it is off season, so we got to sometimes manufacture some things. So PFF, as you called out, Dave, they're list heavy right now. Getting a lot of burning a lot of ink on rankings, and rankings get everybody talking. People love rankings as easy as they are. They get a lot of traction. So we're going to talk about their quarterback rankings because I saw something interesting. I know we had a conversation not last week, but a couple of weeks back about where Jared Goff sits in the pantheon of quarterbacks in the league. So I did want to talk to you guys about what you all see here. So the first, as I'm showing on the screen, PFF has the tier 1 is the Mahomes tier. And does anybody object to that? No, not at all, right?
No.
It's Mahomes and everybody else. That's fine. We come down to tier 2. We've got the 2-time MVP, but 0-time Super Bowl attendee, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. How do we see that? Is that fair? Is that are we missing a quarterback in the elites?
Yeah, Goff.
Goff. Oh yeah, Mr. G Money himself, Jared Goff. Let's find out where he's at because I know. But so he's got the third tier, the postseason caliber quarterbacks: Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, former Lion great. He'll probably be in the Pride at one day with his jersey hanging in the rafters. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know why he's in this tier, but it is what it is, especially in front of Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts at 9, and rounding out the top 10 is C.J. Stroud, second-year player. So first, we didn't have G Money Golf in the elite tier, and he's not in the tier 3 either for what was that, quarterback caliber? Oh, playoff caliber. Let's find it. Tier 4, the melting pot of starters, as they called it. Starting with number 1 of this tier, Jordan Love.
The professional one.
The professional. So we haven't gotten to Jared Goff yet. What do you all think about PFF ranking Jared Goff, probably the best quarterback in the division, I would think, behind Jordan Love?
Prisoner of the moment, I guess, or I guess prisoner of the second half of the year where we kind of tore it up.
What wasn't the last moment we saw of both of these quarterbacks? The last one we saw was Jared Goff playing in a championship game, right?
Correct. But postseason tier, he's not in the postseason tier, but he was basically in the Super Bowl. So, you know. Yeah.
Well, let's not say the championship game is basically the Super Bowl.
Not the championship game, not the championship game, but a quarter away from it is basically the Super Bowl.
Okay, I give you there until they coughed it up. So
what wasn't golf?
It's not. Yes, you're right. It's not golf. It's not golf's fault. That's unfair for me. Yeah, I should not have said that. It's not golf's fault that they lost.
You're really enjoying this pay, aren't you?
So let's find Goff here, because I actually agree. Goff should not be behind Jordan Love.
Shouldn't be behind
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor.
What is
Shouldn't
that?
be behind Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, they got Trevor Lawrence at number 12. Number 12. Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville Jaguars. That no cap. Jared Goff should be ahead of Trevor Lawrence. There's no
Brock
way.
Purdy should be higher.
They got Brock Purdy behind Trevor Lawrence. That makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. And Tua was number 14. Yeah, Tua's not showing up for OTAs right now either, because he's looking for a contract, and Miami's like, I don't even know if I want to pay this dude, but they got him at 14.
Because if they pay him, it's going to be $50 million.
Yeah, I would not. I would not.
No.
And we talked about salary bubble bursting. If you pay Tua $50 million, stop everything right now. Stop everything. If I'm a quarterback, I don't care who I am. I'm going right to my reps and say I need my contract reworked. If they giving him 50, I need a new deal today, and I'm not coming back until I get it. So we got Goff at number 16, right behind, former Viking great Kirk Cousins.
Wow.
Is that disrespectful?
I mean, I see the justification in it. I mean, they're basically, although he's coming off one of his best statistical years, I think they're just cooking him over the fact that they're basically saying that he's a system guy, and if he's in any scenarios where there's the least bit of, where he has to create for himself or outside of the structure of, the best offensive line in the NFL, damn near, he struggles in that regard. So I guess if you gauge things off of in a vacuum where he's not where he's at, I guess I can see why they would do that. But he is playing for the team that he's playing for, so why knock him for that? I guess I don't know how they go about. I don't know how they necessarily go about doing it though.
Well, I'll say this right here. Under their explanation for this, they have, unfortunately, Goff's play under pressure and outside of structure continues to leave a lot to be desired when compared to other top NFL quarterbacks. When I read that, light bulb, not a light bulb, but question mark rang across my forehead. It's like, isn't that exactly the same thing that Kirk Cousins is known for? And he's ranked higher. He's not the quarterback of my team, but I would think that, Jared Goff is being a little bit disrespected here. I mean, like, as you said, Foster, he's a 2-time Super Bowl attendee.
All right.
Yeah, those Super Bowls showing up.
I'm not gonna say that anymore, man.
they matter for something, right?
For a lot.
They should. Unless you got 2 MVPs.
Oh boy.
How about you, Dave?
Well, if you go down, it's got your quarterback, the Bears, at number 19. And it's got my combination down at 31 between Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. And I'm perfectly fine with that. They can sit there. Neither one of them has proved diddly squat. So
I think Caleb Williams is overranked to put him in 19. He hasn't done it. As we said,
he's dangerously close to golf.
I wouldn't put him up as high as golf. Or
no.
Golf would be better.
Until you get out there and get some grass stains on the pads on your jersey a little bit, I don't think you should be ranked at all. It should say NR by your name. Yeah, but golf being 16, I mean, if you told me golf is like a middle road quarterback as it relates to starting quarterbacks, like, okay, that doesn't surprise. I mean, without thinking about it, cool, whatever. But seeing some of the names in front of him, Tua. Come on, bro. No, because everything. I'm gonna read that line again from PFF. Unfortunately, golf's play under pressure and outside of structure continues to leave a lot to be desired when compared to other top NFL quarterbacks. What does Tua do outside of the structure that he has in Miami? What does Tua do when he's under pressure? End up on the sideline. Yeah, end up on the sideline, back at somebody's elbow. And then we got to have a whole bunch of medical talk for a week because he got rattled. Yeah, golf should be no less than, just looking at the guys that we named,
13.
12.
12.
Yeah, 12 is perfectly fair. And
I think golf's better than Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence hasn't done a whole lot.
Lawrence, yeah, I was a big T-Law truther for the longest, but yeah, he got to show me. It's taking too long for him to get to that next step, and I gave him a mulligan for his rookie season. You know, he had what's my man name? Oscar Mayer, Urban Meyer. They had him as his head coach, kicking guys in the warm up line. Embarrassing the organization left and right. He had him as a head coach, and so I gave him a mulligan for his rookie season. But as of right now, like, hey, bro, you're acting like a Boeing right now. You're just sitting on the runway and you're not going anywhere. You're falling apart right in front of our eyes. Get it together.
Now, I read something this week where I think he was compared to Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they had first 2-year stats side by side. And they were almost identical across the board. I mean, within yards of each other, and touchdowns and interceptions
and fumbles. T-Law puts the ball on the ground too much, as Danny dropping dimes as known to do as well. It would have been funny if they had Danny Dimes and Jared Goff side by side. That'd made this all the more enjoyable for me. But as Wednesdays are always, they are extremely enjoyable. I love them. Thanks for you guys for showing up again. Let's start to ramp it down. Just tell me, Dave. Not me, because I know I follow you, I subscribe. So where can everybody else check you out?
They can find us on Vikings First and Skull. We are at right there, exactly. On YouTube, we are at every podcast aggregator you can find, and you can also find us on the Fans First Sports Network's webpage. We do our writing under the Minnesota Vikings tab. If you do VikingsFirstandSkull.com, it drives you right there as well. So you can find us anywhere. And plus, we're on Facebook as well. So we're there. Find us. We talk. We love it. We love our Vikings. And as always, Packers suck.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, they do.
My dynamic duo of Detroit. What's to you all? Where can everybody hear you all?
Okay, it's a couple spots you can check us out. You can check us out on Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. where you can please subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube. You can also check us out on Motor City Metrics on YouTube as well. And then for your audio feeds, that's the Spotify, Apple Podcast, all those good things. Any place you can find a podcast streaming platform, just go to Bleach Speakers, FFSN there. Follow us, download the episodes.
You know it. Heavy on the download, heavy on the subscribe, heavy on the share.
Yes.
And where can they find you, Pay?
As you all have been watching and you've seen that scroll, that little ticker down below, that is what you should need to be doing. You need to go right onto your pocket, right into your Spotify, right into your Apple Music, right into your Pandora, Amazon Music, or YouTube Music, or wherever. You can either catch us on Sirius. The Bear Claw Podcast, one of the, if you're asking me, best show on Fans First Sports Network. But that's just my opinion. Don't take it from me. Why don't you download, listen, and tell me yourself, leave a review, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, share it with a friend. Let's get their opinion as well. Tell them to do the exact same thing. Visually, we are also on YouTube as well at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan. That is also on the ticker down below. Same rules apply. Hit the bell for notifications, share with a friend, and subscribe. Never miss an episode. All right, fellas, it's that time of day. It's that time of the week again. What's our favorite call-off signal? Dave, what do they say in Minnesota?
Skull Vikings.
Yeah, I like the energy. June, what's the word in Motown?
Another one bites the flush.
Yeah, that was more Simba than Mufasa. And as always, in Chicago, we
The Bears.